Hello, it is Dr. T. It's been a minute since I've been on with a video. I recently was talking to a graduate student and offering some advice about preparing for the dissertation. And it took me back a little bit to when I was working on my dissertation and some of the things that I wish I had known before I jumped into my dissertation work and even during the process. So today I'm offering some specific tips for those of you who are considering graduate school, are already working on your doctorate and having to complete your dissertation or even a thesis, a master's level thesis. I would say that the recommendations apply across the board. So today we're talking about thriving through your dissertation or any research project. The most important thing is to remind yourself that you will make it to the finish line because it's easy to become overwhelmed with such a large project, and it's easy to doubt yourself in the process because there is a lot of evaluation, self-evaluation, critique involved in the process. But I have some quick tips today just to help you get through, right? Because we do want to see more of you reaching your goals academically and then using those academic milestones that you've reached to help you reach your career goals as well. So my first tip is that picking your advisor or your committee chair is so important. So you want to find an advisor who matches your writing style, your research style, your preference for feedback. I say focus on your values and your needs. Now, of course, this is dependent upon you actually knowing what your values and needs are. So you might have to do some personal assessment here. What are the things that are most important to me? How do I like to receive feedback? Those things are going to be key for you during the process. So you want to focus on this on the front end. You want to make sure that they also have time for you, that they're available and accessible to edit when you need editing, to give you feedback when you need feedback, that you're not just the 100th thing on their list of things to do, right? That they can actually devote some time to you and your work and to keep you accountable as you go through. Now, to me, finding an advisor who matches your style and your values in other ways is really what's most important. But second to that is finding someone who has similar research interests. Not that it has to be the exact thing that you're researching, but this is why that's important. You at least want to make sure that they respect your area of research, that they can connect to your area of research, because this is a project that hopefully you're very passionate about. And it can be harmful if the person that you're working with, the key person that you're working with, doesn't value that area of research, doesn't believe in that area of research, and cannot support you in that way. So again, it doesn't have to be their exact area, but at least needs to be someone who already knows a little bit or is willing to learn some things to have a good foundation to support you through the process. All right, so to me, that's really one of the biggest things as you're going through. Next, though, is organization at the top of the list. You want to get organized because, again, this is an overwhelming task. It's an overwhelming project, but you don't want it to overwhelm you. So I say organization is your best friend when you're completing such a large research project. I mean, you want to organize your workspace. You want to definitely organize your writing process, organize your notes. Now, at the same time as you're doing all of this organization, you don't want to agonize over the small things. Okay? So there is some balance here, but you want to find a way to your references, that the things that you're reading, that you may be using for your first 3 chapters and all of that, that you're keeping some sort of list, database. There's lots of electronic options for doing that nowadays. Take advantage of those. Check with your library, the research department. and see what resources they may have. Oftentimes, there may be free resources for graduate students who are working on dissertations and things of that sort. Nowadays, there are apps and all kinds of stuff. Things that were not available, mind you, when I was working on my dissertation, or at least not as readily available as they are now. So look into the different options. Ask other friends of yours, graduate students who have worked on their projects or in the midst of their projects, hey, what tools are you using? What time-saving tools are you using? And take advantage of some of those. Find the ones that work best for you to help you get organized, because that's going to be so, so, so important. Next, I would say is save, 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 and not save money, but save your work. I cannot say how important this is to back up everything that you're doing, all of your documents, all of your articles. I recommend getting a removable hard drive or a cloud drive even when it comes to technology. Don't save your work to your computer. Don't save your work to your desktop. There are so many stories of computers crashing. All sorts of things can happen. A fire, a flood. You just never know. Which is why I say cloud options can work really well. So for some people, getting a hard drive and then backing it up to a cloud drive is one way to do it. There are really reasonably priced cloud drive options nowadays. And when you think about the value of that over the course of the time of doing your dissertation, for some of you, you might just need to pay for that for about a year or maybe two, right? And so again, the value of that compared to what you might see as the cost for a year's worth of cloud storage, it's invaluable. But again, look at your options. Find the most reasonable option. Find an option that is going to fit for you and in your pocket. But definitely save, save, save. Depending on what kind of device you're using, you may have autosave, which is cool, but you want to save the iterations of your work and your documents. I say save the iterations for a few reasons. I know, for example, in writing my dissertation, there were times where I may cut out a section, and then later down the road, I realized I actually had use for that information, and I would have had to start from scratch, typing, writing, had I not been able to go back to a previous version and find some of those chunks or pieces of writing or references, things of that sort. Also, one thing you may not think about, if you save your iterations along the way, you get to see your growth, your progress, right? And so you get to see your version 1 that was 2 pages, and now your version 252, which is 100 pages, right? And you can see that, and it helps to keep you motivated, and it helps to keep pushing you towards that finish line. So being able to see your growth and progress is so important, but as well, not losing your work. So many reasons to save, 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 because you don't want to look like this guy on the slide whose world is falling apart because he didn't save his work. And again, I can't emphasize enough the importance of backing up on a cloud drive if you can, just because I've had at least 2 times in my life where a flash drive or I've had an issue with a drive and lost a lot of my work, almost all of my work. And literally, I thought my world was about to end because of the important information that I had on those drives. So cloud drives can be a really great way to back up those documents. Now, I love this tip. It's, I feel like all of these tips are important. So it's hard to say which is more important, but I tried to put the ones that I felt like were priorities closer to the front of the list. But this is valuable as well. Get yourself a squad before you even launch into the research process. Having a support system is going to be so important for you. Again, this can be an overwhelming project. There are a lot of people who get to this point in their graduate programs and they don't finish. All right. If you just ask around, look around you, People who are ABD, it's a thing. They've done it all. They've done all the coursework, comps and such, but they just never get that dissertation done. Get yourself a really awesome support system. So this can be family members, people who really want to see you succeed, who want to see you finish. This can be other graduate students. This is one of the reasons why I said picking your advisor and committee chair is so important. It's also helpful to have that accountability. Someone to check in with you every month. Hey, are you writing? How far along are you? Do you need anything? Can I help you with any resources? That's going to be key to getting you through those times when you don't feel like following on. Those of you who follow me on social media, not that long ago, I posted a video about how I almost stopped in the middle of my graduate program and gave up because it can be a tough process. And so you need people who are going to push you through. Tell your friends and family what to expect. Hey, I won't be available. I won't have as much social time. There may be times where you perceive me as distant. I may not feel like talking all the time. I may get frustrated if I'm trying to focus and I'm interrupted. And set up some things, have some things in place. If you have children, set up childcare for them so you can write every week, or financially, even sometimes you might need support. Have a therapist on standby, or a coach. There are so many things that you can do to make sure that you have informed the people around you that you may be a little different than usual, and that there are going to be times where you may be significantly stressed and where you may need to reach out to them for additional support and accountability. Having that squad is so essential to getting you to that finish line. And so, speaking of finish lines, my last piece of advice is, hey, just get it done, right? We know you want to change the world, but in a lot of ways that can be done after you graduate, right? The world needs to have you done so that you have some flexibility to move on to the truly important things that allow you to touch the world and make an impact on the world. So this project doesn't have to be perfect. And a lot of people who get to this point in their graduate programs have some perfectionism issues, right? Some challenges. This does not have to be one of those things that's perfect. Flexibility is a key word here. You want to take reasonable advice from other folks who may be giving you feedback about adapting your topic, adapting your methods, changing your writing style in some way. Be open to that feedback and don't tie yourself to the small details, because that will be the death of you in this process. So just get it done. All right? It doesn't have to be this huge thing. Yes, it needs to be relevant work. It needs to be meaningful work. But don't overwhelm yourself with this large, complex project that you will never be able to get through because it's too large and complex. Once you've completed your degree and you've walked across that stage, or whatever it is that you do to celebrate at the end, then you can take on this large project and involve other people you want to involve, right? Or research that particular topic that your advisor seems to be a little resistant to. Just get it done, because that's why you're there in the first place, right? So I think that's an important tip for a lot of us who are a little bit perfectionistic, to understand that just getting it done is what's most important. So I'm Dr. T. Many of you, if you're watching this, you may already know me. So all of these things describe me and who I am. I'm been a college instructor, currently an affirmation coach and psychologist, an ally to many, a perfectionist at times, So if you are watching me on YouTube, please share and like and subscribe to this. If you're watching on other social media outlets, like it and share it. If you know someone who is thinking about going into graduate school, particularly working on their doctorate or are in the midst of their doctorate, or just feeling overwhelmed by their research process, please share this with him. Because again, these were things that I wish I had known as I was going through. And I'll throw out this one last tip. Just keep writing. Okay? Don't stop. Keep writing, whether it's 20 minutes a day, a page a day, or you just need to sit and knock it out, 10 pages in a weekend. Keep writing. All right? Because we need more of you out there in the world. If you have questions for me, if you have topics you want to hear about, if you want feedback, if you need resources, please feel free to reach out to me or connect with me on social media. I'd love to hear from you. So take these tips, and until next time, make it a great day.